Hey Fae folk, welcome back to another doll editing video. Today on the chopping block we have Nanana Surprise. So it has been a while since I've done one of these videos. If you haven't seen them from me before, it's a series that I've been doing where I'll take a look at a given brand. Today, like I said, we are doing Nanana Surprise, and I take a look at the dolls that I just think kind of missed the mark. Oftentimes they aren't the ones that I think are the absolute worst from any given brand, just because sometimes the worst ones are kind of beyond redemption in my head, but I just take a look at dolls that I think could have been executed a little bit better, and I like do little edits to try to achieve that goal and try to kind of improve the design. Of course, that is just like to my own taste. Obviously, I'm making these edits to make the dolls more appealing to myself. You might hate them, you might love them as well. We all have our own opinions. Just do please be like chill about it in the comments if you absolutely despise what I've done to these dolls, or like if I'm editing one of your favorites, it's fine. It's not a big deal. But yeah, that's what we're doing today. I did not realize until recently that I hadn't done this for Nanana Surprise. I've done this for so many other doll lines, like Ever After High, all of the generations of Monster High. I did holiday Barbies, and I think I did the Fashionistas and the Barbie Extras. Like, I've done this so many times, but somehow I've never done it for Not Enough Surprise. So we are rectifying that today. I will say that with the dolls I've selected, I have 5 dolls to show you guys today. Most of the edits are relatively minor. Like in some of my other fixing videos, there have been like a lot more drastic changes. These are like pretty subtle, so I think this is going to go kind of quickly, kind of going to be like a less dramatic video, but I still thought that they were fun, kind of little redesigns, little design tweaks there, so I still wanted to share them with you guys, so hopefully we will still have a good time. But yeah, I think that's everything I needed to say, so let's go ahead and just jump on into the edits. Quick side note, my hair has finally gotten long enough for me to put it into a ponytail, and so I was like, okay, great. I can move it like up and out of the way and it'll be cute. Now I'm doubting if it's cute. So if I look insane, please let me know gently. But to the point of the video, I am going to be going from my least favorite kind of redesign to my most favorite redesign, just because y'all know I like to end on like a big shebang. I mean, the ending one still doesn't have like extremely drastic changes, but still, y'all know the drill. So we are starting off with Daria Ducky. This is her base design, and I do think that this is a cute doll. I will say that. Like, I don't think that she's an ugly doll by any means. My big thing is I just don't think there is nearly enough contrast with her. And to be honest, there's not like a ton of contrast with my redesign. There's just like a little bit more because I wanted to try to improve upon that. She's very monochromatic yellow, which I do like. Like, I like monochromatic dolls. See the Rainbow High shelf beside me. I actually don't know if it's probably not going to be in frame given the editing, but I have a Rainbow High shelf beside me. Okay, I like monochromatic dolls. I don't know, I wanted a little bit of something extra for Daria, so this is what I did to edit her a little bit. So number one thing you'll see is that I did chop her hair off a little bit. She still has a lot of hair, okay? Like, she still has quite long hair, but I just thought with the original here, the yellow of her hair and then like the yellow of her boots are almost identical, and it's just losing the boots a little bit. So I did want to cut her hair at like a length that would let the boots shine a little bit more, just because I do think that they're kind of one of the highlights of the outfit. She obviously has this super cute clear like raincoat, but the rain boots with the little ducky faces, like, that's absolutely adorable. So I didn't want them to be getting lost in her hair. I wanted it to be like they could stand alone by themselves a little bit more. Didn't really mean to start from the bottom up, but I guess that's what we're doing here. With her dress, this is very subtle. I don't know if you'll really notice it, but on the raincoat, it looks like, I can't tell actually if it's on the raincoat or the dress underneath. On one of them though, she does have little like glittery sparkles here. What did I just do? Hello? Okay, I was trying to circle it and I accidentally erased. My bad. She has little like glittery circles there, and they're very pale yellow. They like blend in. Honestly, like at first glance, you might not even see it. So I did want to make them a little bit brighter, a little bit more orangey, because she does have like the orange of the duck bill on her shoes. So I was trying to bring some of that orange color throughout the rest of her outfit, just to like give it a tinge more contrast. Obviously, orange and yellow are very close together. Like, it's not the same as if I put like a purple or blue there, but like I didn't want to mess up her monochromatic color scheme too much. I just wanted to try to make it a little bit more. So yeah, I did change the sparkles to a more orangey color. When you flip back and forth like this, I don't think that it's like an extreme redesign, right? I mean, I said that already, but I do think it's just enough to be noticeable. and I personally like it better. And then the other big thing that I changed was the color of her hat, because again, I wanted to more match that sort of orangey color, just to have a slight bit more contrast with the yellow hair. Once again, it's not anything extreme. Like, I could have gone black because she does have black piping on her jacket, but like, that was just a little bit too much to me. Like, that was too heavy for this doll. She does have a very like whimsical, cutesy feel about her, so I didn't want to go anything crazy when it comes to like the absolute most contrast possible, anything like that. I just wanted it to be enough to where you could definitely distinctly see the difference between where her hair is and where her hat is. And I think this is really, really cute. Like I said, as with many of these, the changes are subtle. This one more so than any other, I think, which is probably why she's like my least favorite redesign. But I still think that it is an impactful difference, even if it is a small one. And I personally think that it's really cute. So just like a little more orange to Daria really elevates her. Probably helps that orange is my favorite color now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, that's it for Daria. On to the next. I was gonna say victim, but that sounds so bad. On to the next doll. Okay, next up we have Brianna Bear, and this one I will say I do like actively think she's not the prettiest doll right off the get-go. My thing is just I feel as though the strapless dress silhouette looks very strange on the Nanana body, just because like it's nothing against Nananas or their body shape or anything like that, but just because of the way the doll is built, I feel like the strapless looks a little bit strange. Like, it just looks kind of weird there for me. So that was like the number one thing, the number one catalyst to me wanting to edit this doll, was to give her some sort of straps just to try to mitigate that situation a little bit. And then I also wanted to make her just a little more exciting, I guess, because I say this quite frequently that I'm not usually the biggest fan of sweets themed dolls. It just isn't a theme that usually hits for me. But I do think that the better sweets themed dolls tend to be the ones that go like all out, very maximalist. I just think that that like intense, like really busy design tends to work better for dolls that have sweets themes. So here is my edit. I honestly probably could have gone like a little bit harder with everything, but I do think that this is quite a big improvement. So with the straps, I didn't like give her a, like a undershirt or anything like that. I didn't really want to change the silhouette too much because I wanted to try to stay true to like what the doll looks like. I just gave her a couple of little straps, like just a little double strap on each side, and I think it helps so much. Like, it's so tiny, but it just like ties in that pink color a little bit, 'cause she does have a decent amount of pink on her dress. So like I thought that would be a nice little color to have by the blue ruffle up there. And I just think that it breaks up that kind of like awkwardness that I personally found in the strapless dress. So I liked that a lot more. With her hat, on the original, she just has one gummy bear up there, and like that's very cute. But again, I feel like a more maximalist design tends to look better, in my opinion, for sweets themed dolls. So I did give her a secondary gummy bear in pink, and then also a little like on the opposite side, conversation heart. That's what they're called. That says cutie pie on it in the yellow, because she also has some yellow in her dress. So I thought that would be like a cute little tie-in, and I just thought that that was nice. I like the asymmetry of having two things on one side, one thing on the other side, but I liked the idea of having more charms on her hat, just because again, I feel like it just makes the look a little bit busier, and to me I like that more. And then the last change for her was to add some streaks in her hair. I just personally found that the hair was a little bit boring. Like, it's definitely not bad. I like this sort of minty color, but it's just not exciting enough to me. So I wanted to tie in some of the purple color, and I just gave her a couple of streaks on either side. And I personally think that it is really cute. It's like a little bit face framing with the way that her hair is styled, and I think that it really, really works. So again, realistically, kind of minor changes, right? Like, it's not like I completely changed the silhouette of her dress or like gave her an entirely new print or anything like that, but I just think it's effective. This is one of those dolls that I personally, I think I ranked her as one of my least favorite Nanana Surprise dolls. I personally think that it doesn't take that much tweaking to make her a much more like acceptable doll. I still don't think I'd buy her, just because again, sweets themed doll is not really my thing. But like, you don't have to do a lot. Just a couple little things here and there, and suddenly I feel like she just looks brand new. So I think this is like still not a doll that I'm obsessed with just inherently because of the theme, but so much better than her base doll. The next doll we are tackling is actually the only Nanana teens on this list. The other Nanana dolls that we are doing are all just like the kind of regular version. This one is a teen though, and this is Alex Hart. And again, much like Daria, the biggest thing to me is the contrast. We do have like a little bit less of a monochromatic look because there is a lot more black going on. But the big thing is this section here with the hair and the skirt. The skirt and the hair are the exact same shade of pink. And so it really does get lost. I feel like you can't enjoy the skirt as much because the hair is just swallowing it up. It also doesn't help that she has like extremely long hair, which I get like hair play purposes, but it's just like a lot happening there. So that was the main thing that I wanted to change. I also wasn't a really big fan of this shirt. I just think like the random like bunny, like, yeah, I guess she's a bunny, I don't know, I just, the bunny head, and then it has like a door or something like that written on it, it wasn't really a vibe to me. Like it just seems kind of kitschy and I didn't love it. So this is my edit for her. So number one thing right off the bat that you're going to notice is that I did lighten her hair up pretty substantially. It matches more closely with like the inside of the bunny ears, but I do think that's like acceptable even though they are pretty close together. I'm on the wrong layer. I'm literally always on the wrong layer. They're pretty close together, so like you definitely could make the argument that that is less contrast now. But I just think that having the skirt show off more is kind of more important. So we lightened her hair to be a lighter sort of pink situation here. I also did get rid of the black shirt underneath entirely, and I just gave her a white shirt because again, like it is kind of hypocritical because I'm very much like a black on black person. Like I will wear it like a black jacket with a black dress or whatever. But that's just like a personal style thing. When it comes to design, I do think that it is better when there's like a little bit more contrast. So I thought that the white little V under there would be better. I also gave her a little like diamond necklace here because she has rhinestones on her skirt that I think are really cute and along her belt. And like I feel like that's kind of a nice little thing to add a little bit of sparkle. But with the lower neckline of her shirt, I felt like there was some emptiness here. So I was like, perfect, good opportunity to add some more sparkle with a necklace. This is really tiny, but I did change the buckles and studs on her shoes from gold to silver just because I thought it matched better with these silvery rhinestones. And then the last change for her is I did give her some kind of more dramatic makeup. When you kind of go back and forth, it's a lot easier to see what I'm talking about. So I gave her more eyeliner, like a little inner corner moment, and some like pink on pink eyeshadow there. It's not the neatest job, I am sorry, but you get the idea. I think I also changed, yeah, I did. I deepened her lip color. I just thought her face was kind of like, not bad, but just a little bit boring. And this design overall strikes me as supposed to be kind of a little bit more extra, a little bit more glitzy, glammy, like fun. And so I just wanted to give her a more interesting makeup look. Nanana Surprise makeup is like usually quite soft, it seems to me. And so I wanted to give her something a little bit more interesting. So yeah, I really, really stand by this redesign. Honestly, like you could forego everything else, but the hair, I think that was a huge improvement just because now you can actually see her skirt and like enjoy her skirt and now it's cute. So I think this one is like so much better. Two more to go, and I will say that these next two are like, it's really hard for me to pick which one is my overall favorite. I think that they're both really, really solid redesigns. So we are starting off here with Roxy Foxy. What a name. I think this was one of the earlier Nanana Surprise dolls. Like this was quite early on in their run. And I like the concept for this, but I just think there's too much actual red going on. I know the color red is like associated with foxes, but most often they are more of this like orangey sort of color, or like an orangey to a brown sort of color. And I just think that there's too much red. Like I do think having some red on the design is appropriate because again, I feel like red and foxes do kind of go together like in people's heads. But this is just too much red. I feel like it really overwhelms the foxiness of her design. And also, again, like we are seeing this recurring problem with Nanana Surprise where like if you pull this away, I mean, maybe I just like can't see that well because I do have horrible vision without my glasses and I really need some new glasses. These are getting kind of old at this point. So maybe it's just me, but I feel like if you pull this away, like you can't see where her dress begins and her hair begins because it's just like all red all together. It's just so much going on. And then the shoes are red too. Like this whole blob here, it's just very hard to differentiate anything. Like there's not an immediate visual difference. So that was the big thing that I wanted to take care of, which like, again, like we keep seeing that with these and I don't know why. It seems to be something that's very common with Nanana Surprise. We're going to see it, spoiler alert, on the last doll too. Very interesting. I don't know. Anyway, this is my edit for Roxy, and I really like this. I'm kind of regretting not putting her at number one at this point. Oh well, it's too late now. So I did edit the shoes to be more of that like orangey tan color just to kind of match the hat a little bit more. Y'all may know if you've seen these videos before that I am really big on balance. So having all of the orange up here in her original design and then nothing towards the bottom really, really did bother me. I like it much more for there to be like the hat has the like kind of orangey tone, and then there's some at her neck, and then there's also some at her feet. It just feels like it's more balanced. You're seeing that color throughout the entire design, and instead of having it like completely separate. It also just helps the design not be like entirely monochromatic, which again, I'm not inherently against. I just think you have to be kind of careful when you do that to make sure that the different elements feel different. So I thought that that really, really helped. I did leave red on the bottom. Um, I don't think that any part of this doll was like necessarily intentionally designed to reference like, is it Louboutin or yeah, it's Louboutin because Louis Vuitton is different. Louboutin is the shoe. I don't know that that was intentional that they gave the shoes red bottoms. If that was just like, oh, because the shoe's red, so like let's have the bottom be red too, or if it was supposed to be a reference. But I thought it would be kind of cute to leave a little bit of red on the bottom there as a reference. Plus, it does match her dress, so like it all works together. But obviously, the thing that I'm not discussing enough is the hair. The hair is the biggest change, and I think the absolute best change. Again, we did get a bit of a chop just because like it's still long hair. I just don't think that it needs to be this long. I do feel like in this series, I've talked a decent amount about silhouettes. And when you have like the silhouette of this doll that has hair this long, especially because of the proportions with the doll, like the body is so small compared to the head. So like there's a lot of hair going on. The silhouette you have is basically just a blob. I kind of accidentally included some of the tag automatically, but like, y'all know what I'm saying? Like there's not much of a silhouette here. Whereas if you change that up, suddenly she's got a distinct hat, slightly more distinct hair. You can see her shoes and her silhouette. Like, it's just a little bit more interesting to me. And then I obviously also did change the color. I wanted this to be slightly more referential of like the colors of fur on an actual fox and like the different colors that you find there. But I didn't want to use this super light kind of orangey tan just because I at that point would be creating the same problem again with the lack of contrast, because then her like stole situation and then her hat would be right next to her hair and they would all be the same color and it just wouldn't look right. So instead I went with really, really dark roots, kind of close. They're not quite black, but they're like close to black to kind of match the ears there. And then a gradient down to a deeper kind of ginger color. This is definitely not something that I would expect to see a doll company do for an actual doll, because doing an ombre hairstyle is actually like rather difficult to do just because of like the way that hair is like sewn in or rooted in. To be fair, with Nanana being like a fabric doll, it might technically speaking be easier, but just in general, ombre hair is something that is much harder to achieve on a doll than it is on like a person that you're just dyeing their hair. And even on a person, it's like hard enough to get the blend and everything right. I'm going off on a tangent, sorry. The point is that I don't like blame them for not doing this, but this is just an edit and I can do whatever, and it doesn't have to be like logistical or practical. So I stand by the ombre hair. It looks absolutely sick. I feel like it's just enough contrast with the red dress. Like it's not crazy, but it's just enough to where the dress actually feels separate and special. And then the dress being like the red piece, it like matches her red lip. It feels like the dress kind of gets to be a focal point. I really, really, really like this redesign. I feel like this is super solid. I'm quite proud of this, but we still have one to go that is like equal footing to maybe a little bit better, in my opinion. And that is going to be Harper Waters. I really, really wanted to like this doll because I think that her little sweater dress is the cutest thing ever. I love sweaters on dolls. I just feel like it's not something that you see that often, and it's so, so cute every time because it's just so tiny and adorable. Like, I love the concept of it, but the rest of the stall wasn't really working for me, which like super sucks. Mainly it's the seal leggings. I just like there's seals on the sweater. You're getting it enough. I don't feel like that was necessary. Did not like that. The other things with this doll, once again, as I said, we're seeing a lot of the same colors kind of right next to each other. So we've got like the white hat, the white hair, white on the sweater, white on the boots. It's a lot going on. I didn't want to change the hair because I love the hair that they've chosen here. It looks, I definitely don't know for sure because I don't have this doll. I've never had this doll and I've never touched her. So I don't know for sure, but it kind of looks to me like it might be a metallic nylon just based off of how it's reflecting, but I really like how it reflects because it does look like it's kind of absorbing some of the color of her sweater, and I think that it makes it have like a really cool, almost like holographic effect to the hair. So I didn't want to change that at all because I was like, that's way too cool to give up. So we had to change some other things instead. So here is my version of Harper Waters. Most notably, the seal leggings are gone. They are just a solid blue because I'm not opposed to the blue color. I do feel like it's just different enough from the colors in her hair because her hair definitely leans, maybe because of like the dress, more of a purplish sort of silver, not so much blue. So I do feel like it's just different enough to where it doesn't really bother me contrast wise. So that was a huge thing for me to just get rid of the horrible printed leggings because I felt like they were so kiddish and like just not the vibe for me. So we just gave her solid leggings, and I think it looks so much cuter. When it comes to the boots, I did give her some pink piping on there because you can see here she's got just the pink soles, and I wanted to bring a little bit more of that in and kind of like amplify the mold a little bit because there is like piping molded on, it's just not colored. So I made that pink, and then obviously I added some black in here. She had some black on her sweater, obviously like kind of outlining the seals and everything. And I mean, that is like the highest contrast you can get to white. So in this case, I really did go like full contrast all the way. And I personally think that it really works. So I gave her black fur on the top of her boots. I made the like rim of her hat. I don't think that would be called a rim. I don't know what the word is. But like the part of her hat that is right next to her hair, I made black. I left the main body of it white to kind of just add a little bit more interest and like a little bit more contrast there because I feel like it's more fun to have a two-tone hat than just like an all black hat. But I did make the pom-pom black as well to again kind of add some more contrast, a little bit more like visual weight up there. And I personally think this is really solid. Again, I know this is not like super dramatic. Most of these haven't been, but just these teensy little changes I feel like can make such a big difference. Like this version of the doll and her original look so different just from that tiny little, I mean, tiny little change. There's a couple changes, but mostly from the contrast. Like that is so much more intense and to me so much more visually interesting. I just really love this. Plus, I think that this design, for me personally, again, like, yeah, the black is adding contrast. I feel like it's making some of these elements more visually interesting because that way the hat isn't just a white blob, the boots aren't just a white blob, but also, even though I'm adding interest to those elements, I feel like it really lets the sweater be the star of the show because it's the only thing on it now that has a print to it. So it like really lets your focus go to the most adorable piece on this doll while also making the other things kind of just more interesting in the process. I really like this one. I said I was doubting putting her in first place, but now that I'm here, I'm like, yeah, this was the right choice. Possibly just because I really liked this like concept for this doll too. Like I feel like she was starting off from a better place, and now I feel like she's just so elevated, so good, so solid. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. But yes, guys, that is going to be it for me fixing the Nanana Surprise dolls. I really do hope you enjoyed this one. I know it was maybe less exciting, less dramatic than some of my other editing videos, but I still think that I did a pretty good job, and I would love to hear your feedback on the designs down below. Whether you think I did a good job or you think it was terrible, let me know which was your favorite and least favorite, just all of that jazz. But yeah, hopefully it was as fun for you to see these designs as it was for me to redesign these dolls. I kind of like can't really think of other brands to do because I haven't done Bratz and I don't think I've done My Scene either, but My Scene, like I feel like I struggle with finding decent stock photos just because they are kind of like older dolls. Same thing does apply to Bratz, but also with Bratz I just feel like no tea, no shade if you're like a super fan of Bratz. Like I also really like Bratz, but I do feel like the fan base is a lot less receptive to things like redesigns or critiques. So I'm not really invested in doing those two. And aside from that, I can't really think of any other brands to do this for at the current moment. But if you have any suggestions, definitely feel free to drop them down below. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for today, guys. I do hope you're able to enjoy. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or your night, whatever it might be, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.